There's something off in your house, but it's not the paint, the clutter, or even the people. It's quieter than that. Subtle. Like a soft hum in the background that never goes away. You feel it when you wake up already tired, when arguments seem to spark for no reason, or when your luck feels like it's stuck behind glass. And here's the part most people miss. It's not always bad habits or mindset. Sometimes it's energy stuck, stagnant, and leaking through corners you've never even noticed. The truth is, your home has a pulse. It breathes. And just like the body, when its energy doesn't flow right, everything else starts to feel off. But there's a way to shift that energy gently, quietly, and effectively without burning sage, rearranging furniture, or believing in anything mystical. You do it with plants. Not just any plants, but 9 specific green guardians that have been used for centuries to filter unseen tension, ward off negative presence, and invite in quiet, consistent abundance. These aren't decorative trends or wellness hacks. Each plant I'll share today has a purpose backed by tradition, observed by intuition, and felt by thousands who've seen what happens when the right living energy is placed in the right spot. So if you've ever felt like your home was beautiful, but heavy, welcoming but draining, or like your fortune shows up but never stays, this video isn't just a list. It's a map, a quiet shift, a reset. Because while these plants don't speak, they do hold space. And sometimes, peace doesn't arrive with a bang. It grows leaf by quiet leaf. Number 1. The plant that silences arguments. Sometimes the arguments don't start because of what's said. They start because of what's already in the air. Ever walked into a room and instantly felt tension before anyone even spoke? A tightness in your chest, a flicker of agitation, like something invisible just pressed its thumb down on everyone's patience. That's not imagination. That's energy. And if you've lived in a space where bickering comes easy, where silence feels cold instead of calm, where every conversation feels like it might turn sharp, it's time to look deeper. Because what if the energy in your home isn't just reflecting your mood, but shaping it? The first plant on this list doesn't just sit in a pot and look pretty. It acts like a buffer, a quiet filter, a natural silencer. The Bodhi tree, known for centuries as a symbol of enlightenment, not just a spiritual icon. It's an energetic stabilizer. And while you might not find it in every plant store, or see it trending on design blogs, the Bodhi tree holds a unique ability. It calms the charge in a room before words can spark it into fire. Here's why that matters. Arguments at home aren't always about big things. In fact, most of them aren't. They're about misplaced shoes, tone of voice, dinner plans, timing. But underneath all that is a buildup. Tiny stressors, lingering frustrations, old energy that never got a chance to clear. It sits in the corners, in the hallway, in that spot between the kitchen and the living room where people tend to pause and sigh. Over time, that buildup becomes the default vibration of the house, and without realizing it, everyone starts reacting instead of relating. That's where the Bodhi tree steps in. It's not magical, but it is deeply still. And stillness, when placed with intention, can shift a room faster than any conversation ever could. This plant doesn't try to dominate the space, it simply holds it. Think of it like the calmest person in the room. The one who never raises their voice, never interrupts. But somehow, just by being there, helps everyone else slow down. That's the energy a Bodhi tree brings into your home. In traditional practices, this tree was often planted near temples. Not because of superstition, but because of its ability to absorb noise, both literal and energetic. Its presence is grounding. Its roots go deep, and its leaves, heart-shaped and sensitive to the slightest breeze, serve as a reminder that softness isn't weakness, it's awareness. Where should you place it? Not in the busiest area, but near it. A transitional space. The hallway outside a bedroom where tensions flare. A corner of the living room where the family gathers. The goal isn't to spotlight it, but to let it blend, quietly radiating. If you live in an apartment or lack outdoor space, even a small bonsai version by a window can create an energetic shift. The key is not size, it's stillness. You may be wondering, can a plant really silence arguments? Not directly. But think of what arguments need to grow: friction, speed, charge. Now imagine a presence in the room that quietly absorbs static, that calms the air, that reminds you without words to breathe before reacting. That's not fantasy. That's design. And the best design is the kind that cares not just how a space looks, but how it feels when you live in it. What most people forget is this: we're not just affected by what we see. We're deeply shaped by what we sense. Subtle tensions, micro movements, the nervous energy of a room that's seen too much conflict without ever being reset. Plants like the body tree work slowly, quietly, but persistently. Day after day, they filter, they ground, they soothe, and before long, you start noticing something different: not just fewer arguments, but a deeper ease. The kind that doesn't need explanation. The kind that lets your home exhale. And here's the quiet truth no one tells you: peace doesn't come from silence alone. It comes from safety. From feeling like you don't have to brace every time someone walks in the room. That's what this plant helps cultivate, not as decoration, but as a gentle co-creator of calm. It doesn't erase problems, but it creates a better field in which to face them. There's one more reason this plant matters. In a culture that often glorifies speed, reaction, and saying your piece, we forget the value of the pause. The breath, the choice not to escalate. The Bodhi tree is that pause, that breath, that gentle reminder in leaf form, that not everything needs to be a battle, and that harmony is not the absence of sound, but the presence of balance. So if your home feels just a little too loud, even when it's quiet, maybe it's time to invite in a different kind of silence. Not emptiness, but peace. The kind that grows slowly, like roots, quietly, like trust, steadily, like a plant that's been watching over homes longer than we've been naming problems. Let it sit in that corner. Let it soften the space. Let it hold the moments before they turn sharp, because some arguments don't need to be won. They just need to be dissolved. And sometimes the strongest voice in the room is the one that never speaks at all. Number 2. The plant that clears mental fog. You know the feeling. You've had 8 hours of sleep, the coffee's hot, the day is quiet, and yet your mind feels heavy. Not tired, exactly. Just foggy. Thoughts moving like traffic in the rain. You open your laptop and forget what you were going to do. You stand in the kitchen and stare at the fridge without remembering why you're there. And it's not age. It's not stress. It's something else, a kind of invisible weight that hangs in the air and clings to your thoughts. Mental fog. Most people brush it off. Blame the weather, hormones, another sleepless night. But what if the fog wasn't just inside your head but around you? In the air, in the energy of your space. The truth is, some homes are beautifully decorated but energetically stale. Rooms with poor circulation, heavy colors, stagnant corners. They look fine, but they feel stuck. And just like clutter on a desk makes it hard to focus, energetic clutter makes it hard to think. That's where lavender comes in. This plant isn't just pretty. It's not just something you throw in a candle or a sleep spray. Lavender is a natural mental clarifier. It carries a vibration that doesn't shout but gently lifts. It's the plant that whispers, "You're safe now. You can let go. You can think clearly again." And that whisper, in the right place, can shift an entire morning or a life. There's a reason lavender has been used for centuries not just as an herb, but as a guardian. In ancient Europe, it was hung over doorways to keep away dark spirits. In modern homes, it's placed on nightstands to calm restless minds. But its true power, it clears space, energetically, emotionally, spiritually. It breaks up the fog without force. Think of it like opening a window in your thoughts. What makes lavender different from other plants is this: it doesn't just cleanse, it uplifts. The scent alone has been scientifically shown to reduce anxiety, improve sleep quality, and enhance mental clarity. But in energy work, it's more than that. It shifts the frequency of a room. Like music you didn't know was missing until it plays. Like light filling in where shadows used to linger. Where should you place it? That depends on where the fog tends to gather. Is it your office, where you sit for hours and stare at screens, losing track of time? Is it your bedroom, where sleep feels shallow, dreams chaotic? Or maybe your kitchen, where daily decisions pile up like unopened mail? Lavender works best near windows, places with movement and light. A windowsill in your workspace, a small pot on your nightstand, even a dried bundle in a linen drawer. The form doesn't matter as much as the intention, and that's the quiet magic of it. Lavender isn't loud. It doesn't demand anything. It doesn't bloom to impress. It just stands there calm, fragrant, alive, and little by little, your home starts to feel lighter. Your chest loosens. Your thoughts move again. And the fog lifts. Not like a sudden wind, but like mist fading under morning sun. You may wonder, can a plant really help me think better? And the honest answer is, on its own, maybe not. But when you choose to place it, care for it, and notice it, what you're really doing is creating a moment. A pause. A micro habit that says, I choose clarity. I choose peace. And that choice, repeated over days, changes the way you move through your space. It reminds your nervous system to settle, your breath to deepen, your thoughts to unknot themselves. In a world that demands constant reaction, lavender offers presence. In homes where the TV never stops, the phone never silences, and the mind never rests, lavender stands still. Not to stop the noise, but to offer something softer. A moment of reset. A moment of remembering who you were before everything became so loud. And that's where the real shift begins. When you let go of the need to fix your mind, and instead tend to your space. When you realize the environment you create is the invitation you send to your own peace. Lavender is that invitation. Not flashy, not forceful, but firm in its message. You don't have to live inside the fog. Some people use it in tea, some in oil, some in bunches. You don't need all three. What matters is where you place it. And why. A tiny pot by your sink can turn doing dishes into a small ritual. A lavender sachet in your car can make commutes feel less draining. A fresh sprig next to your journal might help words come easier. And slowly, these moments add up. Not as productivity hacks, but as real, rooted clarity. The kind that comes from tending to energy, not just your to-do list. If you've been feeling scattered lately, forgetting simple things, starting projects but never finishing them, feeling overwhelmed by simple tasks, it may be time to check your space. Not your schedule, not your supplements. Your space. Is there room for breath, for scent, for softness? Lavender isn't a cure-all, but it is a quiet ally. And sometimes, that's all we need. One quiet presence in the room, reminding us that peace doesn't need to be earned. It can be invited, grown, watered, and lived in, one clear thought at a time. Number 3. The plant that blocks residual energy from visitors. Some people leave. Their shoes walk out the door, their car drives away, the front gate closes behind them, and yet, something of them lingers. You know this feeling. The room is empty, but it's not quiet. The energy hasn't settled. Maybe it's someone you love, but they brought anxiety into your space. Maybe it was someone you barely know, but their presence left a mark. Maybe nothing happened at all, and yet the room feels heavier than before they came. This is residual energy. And most of us clean the dishes, fix the couch cushions, comb the rug, but we never clean the air, the space, the unseen. The truth is, not all energy leaves with the people who bring it. Some of it clings. It settles in corners, hangs near the entryway, floats near the hallway light where they paused. And over time, these energetic traces build up. One guest leaves their stress, another their chaos, another their silent judgment. And before you know it, your house isn't just yours anymore. It's echoing with feelings that aren't even yours to carry. That's where the snake plant becomes more than just decor. It becomes a boundary, a bouncer in green, a quiet warrior that doesn't look fierce but holds a presence strong enough to push unwanted energy right out of your home. This plant doesn't bloom. It doesn't beg for attention. It stands upright with sword-like leaves, tall, sharp, deliberate, and energetically that shape matters. In spiritual design, form equals function. The upward lines of the snake plant cut through stagnant energy like a blade through fog. It doesn't absorb what doesn't belong. It doesn't negotiate. It clears, efficiently, quietly, without the drama of incense or rituals or sprays. If you've ever walked into your home and felt tense without reason, if you found yourself suddenly irritable in a space that's supposed to be safe, it might not be your mood. It might be what's still hanging in the air. And while you can't stop people from carrying chaotic energy, you can stop it from staying. Placement is everything. This isn't a plant you hide. It needs to stand guard. Entryways, hall corners, that dead space near the coat rack. Think of the places guests move through the threshold between out there and in here. That's where this plant should live. Not to greet, but to filter. Not to charm, but to protect. In an office, it belongs near the door. In a living room, place it behind a couch that faces the main entrance. Near a bathroom used by guests. Outside the guest room window. Anywhere energy flows and sometimes leaks. You might think this is overthinking. That a plant can't possibly change how your home feels. But here's the thing: energy doesn't ask for your belief. It responds to your environment. And when you place something with intention, something rooted, alive, upright, that space responds. You respond. The air gets clearer. The tension fades faster. Arguments after visitors lessen. You feel like your home can reset after being used. Because that's what happens when people visit, even the kind ones. The space gets used. And like any space, it needs recovery. Snake plants are especially good at what I call passive protection. You don't have to do anything except place them and let them grow. Their leaves grow slow, but steady, and the older they get, the more grounded they feel. Some people even notice that when their plant blooms something rare and subtle, a bit of good news often follows. Not because the plant grants wishes, but because energy flows better when your space isn't clogged with the leftovers of others. There's a quiet empowerment in knowing your home doesn't have to absorb everything. That you can welcome guests with love and still draw boundaries in the air. That you can be open-hearted without being open to everything. Snake plants do that without noise. Without a sign. They stand. That's all. And sometimes, that's the most powerful thing you can do. Just stand, rooted, clear, intentional. We live in a world where energy moves fast. People come and go, often carrying invisible storms. And whether you're sensitive to energy or not, your body notices. Your nervous system notices. So why not give your home what your body wishes it had? A quiet filter. A green gatekeeper. A presence that says, you can enter, but you don't get to stay here unless you're aligned with peace. One last thought. If your home has felt off after visits, if you feel the need to light candles, open windows, or just shake it off, trust that. That's your intuition reading the room. And while you might not always have time to cleanse the space, you can let this plant do it for you slowly, steadily, day and night. It even purifies the air after dark, continuing to breathe when most plants rest. Think about that. Even when you're asleep, the snake plant is working. So next time a guest leaves and you feel off, don't just tidy the room. Check the energy. And consider placing a plant that doesn't just stand there, but stands up for your space. Because peace isn't just created. It's protected, and sometimes the quietest protector is the one standing in the corner, watching over you, leaf by upright leaf. Number 4. The plant that unlocks career flow. You've been working hard. You've shown up early, stayed late, sent the emails, attended the calls, and still you feel stuck, like there's a glass ceiling overhead you can't see, but you keep bumping your head. The promotion waits. The recognition hesitates. Your vision for what you could be keeps knocking, but the door doesn't open. And in the silence that follows, a whisper arises. Maybe this isn't just about effort. Maybe it's something about your space. The one you walk into every day. The one you bring your dreams home to. What if the energy around you isn't just supporting you, it's quietly holding you? Let's talk about the plant that changes that. The tool you didn't know you were missing. The one that unlocks flow. The one that says, yes, you're ready. It's the bay laurel, Laurus nobilis. Its leaves are familiar in the kitchen, but its work is rarely seen in the home office, the desk, corner, or the hallway where your ambition treads. Ancient civilizations crowned winners with bit of this plant, not because it smelled nice, but because it symbolized victory, power, and success. And today, sitting in your space, it can do the same for you. Here's the point. What blocks career growth is not always lack of skill or connections. Sometimes it's unspoken stagnation. Your energy field is blurred by almost enough decisions, postponed conversations, good ideas left in drafts. Your environment mirrors that blur. Your space doesn't say go with clarity, it whispers maybe. And when you spend more time in maybe, you stop hearing your own voice for growth. Bay laurel flips that switch. It says yes clearly. Picture this. You walk in after a long day. Your laptop shuts. You lean back. You feel the weight of unfinished ideas. Then your eyes land on a pot of bay laurel on the shelf next to the window. 3 things shift. Firstly, the plant is upright, firm, unhurried. Secondly, it's evergreen, meaning renewal never pauses. Thirdly, its leaves carry history of champions. All of that lands quietly in your body before your mind even speaks. Suddenly, you breathe with possibility instead of resignation. Placement matters. Not random. Not decorative. Ideally near your workspace, by the window where light filters, by the side of your desk where you most often pause. The energy of action flows through there. When you place bay laurel in that zone, you're sending a message to your subconscious. Here is where the breakthrough begins. In a living room, you can place it near the reading chair, on a shelf above your certificates, or in the corner of the home office where ideas gestate. It doesn't scream ambition. It holds it quietly, with dignity. This is where the emotional shift deepens. Many of us have dreamed of that big break so long we forgot what it feels like to expect it. The excitement dims. The hope sags. But when something in your space changes, when the energy changes, you remember that feeling before it became routine. The bay laurel helps you feel that again. Not for show, but for truth. The truth that you are capable. You are ready and your space supports it. You might ask, isn't this just symbolic? I still have to do the work. And you're right. This plant won't type the emails, won't pitch the clients, won't lead the meeting. But what it can do is remove friction. It can remove the static in your air that says maybe later. It smooths the flap of hesitation. It aligns what you're doing with how you feel doing it. And that alignment, that's where change begins. It's easy to dismiss environment as just decor. But your space is the reservoir your mind drinks from every morning. If the reservoir is murky, you won't get clear thinking. If it's blocked, you'll hit the same barrier again. Bay laurel acts like a cleaning current. Not forced, not loud, just persistent. The leaves stay green, the structure holds upright. Day after day the vibration settles. And slowly, your ideas start facing fewer delays. You notice fewer questions. You feel more sure during its history. This plant symbolized high achievement. In Greece and Rome, athletic victors and poets alike wore laurel wreaths. The meaning hasn't lost power. If anything, in your home office world of 9-5 Zoom calls, side gigs and dreams, it's more relevant, the laurels of our time. Not on heads, but in our atmosphere. So install one where you work. Let it anchor your presence. From here, the crescendo builds. Imagine a month of planting intention. You place the bay laurel. You breathe beside it when you pause midday. You glance at it before the meeting starts. You feel it there when you switch off for the night. You light up to it. And then one morning, something different happens. The email arrives. The call goes well. A conversation you avoided becomes easy. Your energy shifts. Not because the plant granted success, but because the space said you deserve it. The blockage eased. And you moved through it. The fall must come too, the recognition that you haven't been stuck for lack of trying. You were stuck because the space you built didn't mirror the person you were becoming. So when you correct the space, you correct the signal. Bay laurel helps you turn the dial from waiting to acting. From one day to day one, and that shift echoes. In closing, your career flow isn't just about what you accomplish, it's about how you show up. And your home is where you show up for yourself before you show up for the world. Give that space a guardian, a sentinel that says success is allowed, visible, expected. That guardian is bay laurel, silent, evergreen, rooted in meaning, and it stands ready for you. If you feel that glass ceiling again, let's do something different this time. Don't just book a coaching call. Don't just update your resume. Look at your space. Choose a plant. Place it with purpose. And let the momentum begin, not because you hope for it, but because you set the stage for it. Your work has value. Your vision has timing. Your home can align. And sometimes, the right green alley makes all the difference. Number 5. The plant that lights up dim homes. Some homes don't get much light. Not because they're neglected or unloved, but because life isn't always built around sunlight. Basement apartments. Narrow townhomes. Spaces where windows face brick walls or alleyways. Even in beautiful homes, there are rooms where daylight never fully arrives. And in those dim spaces, something starts to shift, not just the color of the walls, but the feeling in your chest. You walk in and feel heavier, more tired, less clear. You forget what you came in for. You turn on a lamp, but the energy still feels dull. And that's not just a design issue. That's an energy issue. Homes breathe, and when light can't move freely, neither can energy. Over time, those dim spaces become quiet storage units, not just for furniture or coats, but for stuck emotions, delayed decisions, and untended thoughts. What you need in that space isn't just more light bulbs. You need a living presence that helps the room remember how to move, how to open, how to breathe. That's where the Erica palm steps in. Unlike sharp, angular plants that defend and cut through energy, the Erica palm softens. It lifts. It expands. Its long, feather-like leaves don't block, they invite. They filter light without stealing it. They wave gently, even in the stillness of indoor air, creating the illusion of movement even when nothing's happening. And that alone, movement in stillness, is enough to shift the tone of an entire room. Here's what makes the Erica palm different. It doesn't just brighten a space visually. It uplifts it energetically. It radiates clean, optimistic energy, the kind of presence that reminds you to open the window even on cold days. The kind that makes a hallway feel like a passage, not a dead end. The kind that subtly whispers, "You're not stuck, just paused." If you've been living in a home where the rooms feel more like boxes than spaces, this is your plant. It doesn't need constant attention. It doesn't throw color into your face. It simply exists with grace. And that energy of grace changes how you feel when you're in the room. Placement is key. This isn't a plant for shelves or corners where it can't grow. It wants a bit of air. A stretch of floor near a window even if the light is soft. A hallway that collects shadows. A living room that faces north. Let it stand tall. Let it breathe. Because its message is simple. There is more space here than you think. And that's the deeper emotional layer what this plant teaches you without saying a word. In rooms that feel cramped, it reminds you of expansion. In spaces that feel forgotten, it brings life back in. In seasons when your own energy is dimmed by stress, grief, fatigue, it stands upright for you. Quiet, resilient, unwavering. Areca palms are known not just for their beauty, but for their ability to regulate moisture and purify indoor air. They're used in hospitals and healing spaces not because they're trendy, but because they stabilize. And in a home, that stabilization isn't just physical, it's emotional. One plant, standing tall in a dim hallway, can make it feel like the home is watching over itself again. Like someone left the light on for your hope. And here's something else. In homes where people often pass each other without much connection, each person moving through their routine silently, this plant brings a shift. Its presence is soft enough to go unnoticed at first. But one day someone stops to touch a leaf. Another day they open a window without thinking. Slowly, energy starts to circulate. The room doesn't just look better, it feels less forgotten. We often think change comes from effort, from redoing, replacing, reworking. But sometimes, change begins when we add one living thing to a space that had none. Something rooted. Something graceful. Something that takes up space in a way that isn't loud, but affirming. Areca palm doesn't push away the dark. It holds the dark gently until it learns to soften. So if there's a room in your house that you avoid, not because it's broken, but because it feels heavy, bring this plant in.
Give it time.
Let it do what it does, create room within the room. Let it stretch upward until you start to feel that stretch in yourself too. What makes this plant powerful is not its look, it's what it changes in you. It reminds you that even in dim places, things can grow. That light doesn't have to be direct to be nourishing. That softness is not weakness. That energy, when blocked, doesn't need to be forced open. It can be coaxed, encouraged, welcomed. There's a quiet moment when you first notice the change. You walk into that old, dim hallway and it feels brighter. Not because you added lamps, but because something's breathing in the space again. And in that breath, your home becomes a little more alive. So do you. Areca palm doesn't demand. It suggests. It doesn't dazzle. It invites. And in rooms where nothing seemed to work, where no decor ever made it feel right, this plant simply exists. Gently. Steadily. And the room responds. So here's the invitation. Find your dimmest room. The one you walk past quickly. The one that always feels a little colder, a little heavier. Bring in this plant. Place it where it can grow slowly. Don't rush it. Don't expect instant transformation. Just let it be. And one day, without realizing it, you'll feel a shift, not in the light, but in the way the room holds you. The way it welcomes you back. The way it says you don't have to feel dim to rest here. You just have to arrive. And maybe that's the real reason this plant matters. Not because it brightens the room, but because it teaches the room how to hold brightness again. Number 6. The plant for homes healing after hardship. Some homes carry a silence that isn't peace, it's grief. Not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it shows up as a heaviness in the air, a stillness that doesn't soothe, a quiet that feels like something used to live here and left. You walk into certain rooms and feel the memories hanging there. You sit at the dining table and sense a kind of emptiness, even when the chairs are full, because some hardships don't shatter the walls, they just shift how the space feels. And over time, even the house begins to mirror the sorrow. Maybe it was the loss of a loved one. Maybe a divorce, a diagnosis, or just a season of deep emotional fatigue, when joy felt like a guest who stopped showing up. These moments don't always leave physical scars, but they rearrange the energy of a home in quiet, powerful ways. What used to be the happy room becomes the avoided room. The bedroom feels colder. The hallway echoes more. No one talks about this, but if you felt it, you know. That's why this plant matters, not as decoration, but as declaration. The peach blossom tree isn't just a symbol of beauty. It is a living metaphor for renewal. In ancient traditions, it was placed in the home during turning points. The new year, the arrival of spring, the end of mourning, not because it looked cheerful, but because it reminded people that cycles don't stop at endings. That even after the hardest seasons, there is still a blooming left in us. What makes this tree special isn't just the flowers, it's when it flowers. The blossoms don't rush. They arrive exactly when they're ready, soft, pink, luminous against bare branches. And that image alone is healing. Something gentle growing from something stripped bare. It speaks to anyone who's been through something hard and wondered if light would ever return. The energy of the peach blossom isn't pushy. It doesn't demand healing. It invites it. It says, you don't have to bounce back. You can grow back slowly, beautifully, in your own time. That message, quietly blooming in your living room or entryway, can shift more than you expect. Placement matters. This is not a plant to hide. It belongs where energy can re-enter, near a window that faces the morning light, beside a doorway that leads to something new, or in the room where grief has lived the longest. People eat. Even a single branch placed in a vase can change the tone of a space. In fact, many cultures hang dried peach branches near the front door, not to ward off evil, but to remind the home, light is always welcome here again. This plant works best when paired with intention. You don't need to perform rituals or say anything aloud. But maybe one morning you sit beside it with a cup of tea and just breathe. Maybe you write down what the home has held for you, what you're ready to let go of. Maybe you say nothing at all and simply water it with quiet hope. That's enough. Because healing doesn't need an audience. It just needs a beginning. If you've ever felt like your home is still frozen in a past you've outgrown, this plant offers release. Not by erasing memories, but by softening their grip. The peach blossom doesn't replace what was lost. It adds what's possible. A new rhythm. A gentler day. A moment of color where there was only gray. There's also something deeply honest about this plant. Its branches are delicate, but its trunk is strong. It bends with wind but doesn't break. That combination, resilience and softness, is the essence of true healing. Not pretending everything's fine, but slowly allowing yourself to feel again. To trust the space again. To see your home not as a place that held pain, but as a place ready to hold your becoming. You may think it's just a tree. Can it really help me feel better? And the answer is, this, not directly. But it creates the conditions where healing becomes easier. Where energy doesn't stay stuck in old corners. Where the air begins to move again, not fast, but freely. And over time, you notice the change. You sit in that room without flinching. You wake up and don't brace for the weight. You walk through your home and feel held, not haunted. Some people even notice that when their peach blossom tree blooms, at just the right time during a birthday. A new chapter, a long-awaited moment. It feels like a quiet blessing. Not magic, just alignment. A subtle affirmation that the energy is shifting. That joy, once a stranger, is stepping back in. If your home has been through something, if you've been through something, this plant doesn't fix it. But it stands with you. It holds space without rushing you to feel better. It grows, slowly, reminding your nervous system that safety can return. That beauty isn't gone. That you can love your space again, even if it once held your pain. And here's the most powerful part: when that tree blooms, you're not just watching nature, you're watching reflection. Proof that life moves forward, even from bare branches. Proof that softness can return after seasons of survival. And in that moment, your home becomes more than a shelter. It becomes a witness, a partner, a garden for your next becoming. So if you felt stuck in sorrow, or if your space feels like it's still grieving something long past, bring this plant into your home. Let it do what it does best: soften the air, reclaim the light, bloom quietly until the space and you are ready to bloom with it. Number 7. The plant that soothes overthinkers at night. It's late. The house is quiet, the lights are low, and the world around you has gone to sleep, but your mind hasn't. You're tired, but thinking. You're lying still, but inside, you're moving. Running through to-do lists. Replaying old conversations. Wondering if you said too much or not enough. Questioning decisions, forecasting futures, fixing things in your head that haven't even happened yet. This isn't insomnia, it's overthinking. And if you've been here, you know it's exhausting. Not just for the mind, but for the soul. During the day, you can distract yourself. Keep busy. Stay focused. But at night, when things slow down, when your guard drops, your thoughts get louder. And no matter how many calming apps you try, how many wind-down routines you follow, the weight doesn't always lift. That's when you need more than silence. You need safety. You need something in the room that doesn't demand anything from you, but holds the energy gently. Something that says you can stop now. You've done enough. That something is mugwort. Not flashy, not popular, but quietly powerful. Known for centuries in herbal traditions as a plant of protection and dreamwork, mugwort is not just for tea or smudge sticks. In your home, it acts like a filter for mental noise, a soft boundary between your thoughts and your peace. It doesn't stop your mind, but it gives your body permission to settle. And sometimes, that's all it takes. The first time you place mugwort near your bed, whether as a live plant, dried bundle, or small sachet, you may not notice anything dramatic. But give it time. It works slowly, subtly. Over days, you might find yourself falling asleep just a little easier. Waking up less tense. Feeling less caught in loops of thought. That's the shift, not escape, but ease. Not sedation, but softening. There's something ancient in this plant. Cultures across the world have used it to protect the body during vulnerable hours, when we dream, when we heal, when we rest. And that's what makes it so essential for the overthinker. Because what most people don't realize is that overthinking isn't always mental. It's energetic. It's your body holding on to alertness long after the world has quieted down. Mugwort doesn't lecture that tension. It surrounds it, calms it, grounds it. The best place to keep it: near your pillow, on the nightstand, hung gently above the headboard, in a drawer under your bed. Even a bundle on a shelf is enough. What matters is the relationship. This is your night plant, your quiet companion. You don't need to talk to it. Just acknowledge it's there. A silent presence reminding your nervous system that the world can wait. And here's the beautiful irony: the plant that soothes you into sleep is also connected to dreams. For generations, mugwort has been called the dream herb. Not because it gives you fantastical visions, but because it clears the static. It makes your dream space less chaotic, less jumbled, less like a second shift of emotional processing. More like a quiet field where your soul can breathe. If you're someone who wakes up feeling just as tired as when you went to bed, mugwort may be the missing piece. Not because you need more hours, but because you need better rest, deeper exhale, fewer mental spirals before sleep. That's where this plant shines, not through drama, but through quiet containment. There's a tenderness to mugwort. Its leaves are soft, almost silver on one side. It doesn't grow aggressively. It doesn't take up too much space. And yet, in spiritual practice, it's considered one of the most protective plants for the inner world. That speaks volumes. Because sometimes, the strongest protectors aren't loud, they're present. Constant. Steady. That's the kind of peace mugwort offers. And this is where the emotional arc deepens. If you've ever felt ashamed for not being able to turn off, if you've blamed yourself for the anxiety that sneaks in after dark, if you've whispered, "What's wrong with me?" While everyone else sleeps, this plant says, "Nothing. Nothing is wrong. You're just carrying too much. Let me hold some of it for you tonight." That moment of being held, not fixed, is where healing begins. Because real rest isn't just about sleep. It's about feeling safe enough to stop controlling, to stop analyzing, to stop managing every detail of your life, even for one night. Mugwort offers that moment. And over time, those moments become a rhythm, a ritual, a reminder that peace doesn't come from forcing stillness. It comes from being allowed to relax into it. So here's the invitation tonight. Instead of scrolling to distract your mind, sit with your space. Ask yourself, is this room helping me rest? Or is it asking me to keep going? If it's the latter, bring in this plant. Let it stand with you, not against you. Let it soften the air, the energy, the edges of your thoughts. And one day, not right away, but one quiet evening, you'll feel it. That moment where your eyes close and your breath slows, and for the first time in a while, your thoughts don't fight back. They just drift, like mist in the morning, like a page turning gently in your mind. And you'll realize you are not your overthinking. You are a person in need of softness. And you just found some rooted, green and breathing beside your bed. That is what mugwort offers. Not a cure, but company. And sometimes, when the world feels too loud, even in the dark, company is enough. Number 8. The plant that balances households with too many. Geez, there are homes that are full but still feel empty. Where the kitchen is never quiet, but the conversations rarely go deep. Where bedrooms are all taken, but connection feels rare. Where the air is thick not with conflict, but with misalignment. A household with too many energies is not always chaotic. It's just crowded. Different moods, different rhythms, different emotional temperatures under one roof, and no shared breath. If you've ever lived in a space like that, you know how it feels. Like walking into a room where the volume is low, but the frequency is off. Like everyone's orbiting each other without ever really meeting. Maybe it's a multi-generational home, a busy family, a roommate-filled apartment, or simply a house full of people who carry their own unspoken weight. And even when no one says a word, the tension is there. It sits in the air like static. This isn't about anyone being wrong. It's about energy having nowhere to land. No anchor, no rhythm, no center point. That's where the Cornelian cherry steps in, not as a decoration, but as a harmonizer. This is the plant that takes all the swirling, conflicting energy in a space and helps it settle into something quieter, smoother, livable. It doesn't fix relationships. It doesn't control emotion. But it holds the room in a kind of gentle container, softening the edges where energies collide. In traditional practices, this plant has long been used as a stabilizer, It was carried during times of energetic overflow festivals, full moons, seasonal transitions. Not because it absorbs energy, but because it regulates it. Think of it like a tuning fork. It doesn't mute the noise. It aligns the tones. In a home, the cornelian cherry works best in shared zones. Living rooms, dining spaces, central hallways, places where energies pass through but don't always mix well. You don't want to hide this plant. You want it visible, grounded, intentional. Let it live near where people gather, where the temperature of the room rises not with, but with difference. And just by being there, it begins its quiet work. What does that feel like? It's subtle. A conversation that would have turned sour doesn't. A shared silence that would have felt tense now feels warm. People start staying in the room just a few minutes longer. The home breathes easier, not because anyone changed, but because the energy between them did. The reason this matters so much is because we often underestimate the emotional impact of shared space. We assume it's normal to always feel overstimulated when everyone's home. We accept that the only escape is behind a closed bedroom door. But it doesn't have to be that way. Homes can hold multiple energies if there's something helping them coexist. This plant doesn't eliminate contrast. It creates room for it, and here's where the emotional shift lands. If you're someone who holds the emotional weight of your household, keeping the peace, anticipating moods, trying to read the room before every dinner, you deserve support. Not just from people, from the space itself, from a living thing that stands in the middle and says, "Let me help hold this for you." Cornelian cherry doesn't bloom extravagantly. It's not showy. Its leaves are steady, its form compact, but its presence is grounding. And that's exactly what a crowded home's, a stable pulse in the middle of the energetic hum, something that reminds each person without words that they are part of a larger whole. If your home has felt full but disconnected, this plant helps shift the atmosphere from mine vished to ours. Not through conversation, through vibration, through presence, through the quiet message we can all be here and still feel okay. One of the most overlooked parts of home energy is what happens in the between spaces. The hallway between bedrooms, the passage from kitchen to living room. These zones seem neutral, but they carry the unspoken exchanges. The sighs, the tension after a disagreement, the avoidance. Cornelian cherry thrives in these spaces. It doesn't ask for attention. It simply holds the energy, filters it gently. And when people move through, they move a little softer. This is especially powerful in homes where people process emotion differently. Where one person cries, another shuts down, another gets busy. The plant doesn't ask anyone to change. It just gives everyone the energetic room to be. And in that allowance, the pressure eases. The static lowers. The temperature resets. You might not even realize the shift until one night. The living room feels more comfortable than your bedroom. Or the kitchen table becomes a place people linger instead of pass through. That's the work of the harmonizer. It doesn't demand gratitude. It just keeps balancing. Quiet always. If you want to deepen this effect, pair the plant with a few actions. Light a soft candle near it in the evening. Open a window nearby during the day and place a grounding object next to the pot, a stone, a small piece of wood, something that connects you back to earth. These small gestures tell the plant and your space that harmony is not just desired, it's welcome. Because at the end of the day, a home doesn't have to be silent to feel peaceful. It doesn't need to be minimal to feel calm. It just needs flow. Something alive in the center that says, every version of you belongs here. Even the tired one. Even the tender one. That's what Cornelian cherry offers. Not just to the space, but to the people in it. The quiet permission to be themselves, and to share a space without losing themselves. Number 9. The plant that holds wealth in place. We talk a lot about attracting wealth, how to open the door, invite it in, manifest it, magnetize it. But what no one talks about enough is how easily wealth slips away. Not just money, but the feeling of stability. You get a raise, and the bills rise to meet it. You close a deal, and the car breaks down. There's a sudden gift, and then an emergency. It's not always sabotage. Sometimes, it's the space around you not being built to hold what you've earned. Wealth doesn't just arrive. It settles if you let it. And like any guest, it stays longer where it feels safe, respected, grounded. If your home feels like money flows in but never roots, like success visits but stay, you may not need more effort. You may need more anchoring. And that's where the cornelian cherry plant comes back, not as a harmonizer this time, but as a stabilizer. A quiet keeper of energy. The one that holds the fortune in place. This is not a flashy plant. It doesn't demand attention. But its presence is solid, consistent. It's been used for centuries in energetic practices as a wealth anchor. Not a magnet, but a container. Something that regulates the flow of energy so that it doesn't arrive in spikes and disappear in drops. Its thick, glossy leaves hold moisture and filter the air. But more importantly, they represent retention, the ability to keep what has been gained. Where do you place it? Near the entrances where wealth enters. In hallways where wealth might rush through. In living rooms where energy gathers. This plant is best placed in spots of transition, places where energy moves quickly and can easily be lost by the front door, beside a frequently opened window, near the staircase. Its job is not to stop movement, but to stabilize the flow. Like a stone placed in a river, not blocking the current, but redirecting it gently. Here's the emotional truth most of us carry. We don't trust good fortune to last. And often, our homes reflect that. We decorate to impress, but not to ground. We fill the space with new things, but the energy still leaks. Because nothing in the space has been asked to hold. Cornelian cherry does just that. It stands where flow meets form, saying quietly, this too belongs here. Let it stay. And when it does stay, something changes. You stop chasing the next thing. You feel more clarity in your spending. You make decisions from a place of peace, not pressure. You trust that the next wave of success doesn't have to feel like a fluke. It becomes a pattern. Because now, your space supports retention, not just attraction. One of the most powerful energetic traits of this plant is its ability to gently neutralize extremes. Homes that feel like they swing between feast and famine, sudden income, sudden loss are often missing a stabilizing presence. Cornelian cherry evens out those swings. It doesn't block highs or lows. It smooths the curve. So your finances, your mood, your household's overall sense of enough begins to settle into a calmer rhythm. If you want to deepen the effect, pair this plant with intention. Don't just place it, charge it. Write a small note of gratitude for what has arrived in your life and place it beneath the pot. Add a coin, not for superstition, but as a symbol of continuity. Every time you water the plant, treat it like you're watering the energy of your household's prosperity. Slow. Presity. This plant teaches one of the most overlooked lessons in abundance. Consistency is a kind of magic. Most people are searching for breakthroughs, windfalls, jackpot moments. But true wealth comes in quiet waves: habits, care, relationships, timing. And all of that requires a space that's built to hold stillness. Not the stillness of doing nothing. The stillness of staying. There's something deeply comforting about the way this plant grows. It doesn't rush. It adapts to different light, different conditions, different seasons, and yet, it stays strong. It grows without taking over. And that, too, is a lesson in prosperity. You don't need to overwhelm your life to become abundant. You just need to support the flow of what already wants to stay. If you've ever felt like money slips through your fingers, then, like no matter how hard you work, it's never quite enough, consider that it might not be about how much you bring in. It may be about what your space can hold. Cornelian cherry doesn't hold it for you. It holds it with you, side by side, leaf by quiet leaf dot, and as you live with it, as it grows quietly beside your entrance, or hallway, or windowsill, you may start to notice a shift. Fewer emergencies. More breathing room. A bill gets paid early instead of late. An opportunity that used to slip past stays. Not because the plant is magic, but because your space has stopped leaking what you work so hard to create. This is the final plant in the journey, not because it's the most important, but because it closes the loop. The others attract, soften, uplift, balance. This one sustains. And in a world that constantly pushes us to chase more, it's radical to say, I want what I have to stay. This plant helps you make that promise. Not just to your home, to yourself. So the next time something good arrives, a payment, a compliment, a sense of ease, place your hand gently near this plant. Take one deep breath and whisper, stay. Not out of desperation, but with quiet trust that you have created a space where good things are not just welcome, they're safe. That's what the Cornelian cherry teaches. Not how to win more, but how to keep what matters. And that, perhaps, is the greatest form of wealth. Final, maybe you didn't expect a plant to shift anything. Maybe this started as curiosity, something to play in the background while you folded laundry or brewed your evening tea. But here you are. Still here. Still listening. And that says something. It means your home matters to you, not just as a structure, but as a living space. A place that holds you, echoes you, remembers you. We've traveled through 9 plants. 9 living beings, each with its own rhythm, its own lesson. Not one was about perfection. None promised a miracle. They weren't decorations, they were invitations. To breathe, to soften, to reclaim the quiet wisdom of a home that supports your life, not drains it. We started with the plant that silences arguments, because every home deserves peace. We moved through clarity, protection, restoration, through tension and tenderness, through restlessness and healing. And finally, we arrived at the place most of us hesitate to speak of: wealth. Not just in dollars, but in steadiness, in worth, in what stays. And maybe as you listened, one plant spoke louder than the rest. Maybe you saw your own story reflected in the corners of your house. A room you avoid, a hallway that feels off, a sense that energy comes in but never settles. That's not just decor. That's data. Your body is reading your space every single day. These plants, these gentle, rooted allies, help rewrite that reading. Not with force, but with quiet presence. With the medicine of being. This isn't about changing your entire home. It's about tending to one corner, one window, one pot of earth that says, this space is alive. This space is mine. This space supports who I'm becoming. And if you've made it this far, thank you. Truly, it's no small thing to sit with ideas that ask more of your heart than your wallet. It's no small thing to believe that softness is strength. That energy matters. That you matter. Wherever you are. Whatever your home holds right now: joy, chaos, healing, transition. I hope you walk away from this not with urgency, but with possibility. That maybe, with one plant, one change, one breath, your space becomes less of a container and more of a companion. May your home be a place where peace lingers longer, where light finds its way, where you feel safe not just to live but to grow. Thank you for being here. And may everything good stay.